What happened? ठीक है, शुरू करें. Now it is about the short length notice. Now what do you mean by here the short length notice? I think once you have understood the normal length, you understood what is short length. Short length is what if the company wants to issue the notice for the period less than 21 days, clear 21 days. So it is allowed or not allowed? Obviously it is allowed. Normal range is clear 21 days, but if company wants to go for less than clear 21 days, it is allowed, but it is conditional. Got it? It is what? Conditional. If you follow certain conditions, fine, most welcome, you can go ahead with that. So in this class, we have to learn that what are those conditions which makes the company to go for the short length notice. So what kinds of question? Look, in exam, the question may ask like this: there is a company ABC Limited decides to go for the notice of the general meeting, but only for the period of 7 days before the general meeting. It wants to dispatch just 7 days before the general meeting. So by referring to the provisions of 101, section 101, explain whether it is allowed or not allowed. It is allowed. Now let me tell you, ये short length अगर एग्जाम में आया तो थोड़ा critical हो सकता है because it is recently amended since I think 2018 amendment taken place. Okay, let me show you up here. If you come to here 101, which is talking about this part, notice of the meeting. All right. So can you check it over here? Look, this part, whole this part, what you can see here, fourth, it got amended in the year of 2018. 18 to 23, almost around 4 to 5 years, but I didn't see any question based on the short length notice, but trust me, if they want to ask, there can be a good tough question. ठीक है, शुरू करें भाई, शुरू करें. All right. So all right. So when I talk about the short length notice, it is actually categorized into the two. I would say, first of all, two parts. Right on. Short length notice. It is categorized into the two parts. The first one is what if the company is having share capital, and second is what if the company doesn't have share capital. So ये पहला आपका एक comparison आएगा यहाँ पे. So the first point is company having share capital. So that's the first point here. आइए इसको हम थोड़ा interesting बनाएं like this. This looks more beautiful, isn't it? And second portion, what we have, it is company not having share capital. Company not having share capital. If I speak about company having share capital, again guys, the topic is divided into two. How come? It is saying that what if we want to discuss about AGM? Short length notice in case of what? AGM. Then what is the answer? And if it is EGM, then what is the answer? If it is EGM, then what is the answer? Got it? All right. So what law says that if you want to go for the short length notice of annual general meeting, then nothing much. You have to just complete a formality. And what is that? You have to take the consent. अच्छा, किसके consent लेंगे आप? Members or shareholder, right? But the question comes like, how will you take it and what is the percentage? Here the number is not 100. Got it? So if it is AGM, the law simply says that you have to, you know, take the consent of, I don't know, obtain the consent of at least 95% of total members of members total members. Yeah, who have the voting right, of course. For example, look, today we have the concept of class meeting. I think all of you know that, right? Class meeting, you understand? Class meeting. So it is possible that even if you are the member, but if a meeting is called for one particular class, others who are not invited do not have voting right in that. Only class members do have the voting right in that particular class meeting. Yes or no? For example, it is the meeting of the cumulative preference shares. Other members do not have voting right into that. Okay? So what I'm saying, 95% of the total members who have right to vote in that meeting, who have right to vote in that meeting. So don't consider all those 100%. Only consider those people who have the voting right in that meeting, and 95% of those people will be considered. Okay, am I clear? Okay, what about it is EGM? EGM can be little bit critical. ये तो ठीक है, हो जाएगा. For example, there is a company. हम उसका एक example ले लेते हैं. There is a company, suppose, and company is this situation. Total number of members are 1000. This is the total members. Clear? Total members are how many? 1000. But मजे की बात यह है that they decided to go for short length notice in EGM. EGM stands for Extraordinary General Meeting, where these kinds of consent is taken. I would say 40% of the members given the consent, given the consent, who represent, given the consent, who represent, I would say 98% of total share capital with voting rights. So generally what I have observed that student को क्या लगता है, अरे सर कितना easy है यार, कितना easy, ये भी कोई question है क्या? Clearly it is mentioned 98% of the total voting right, member in favor, but in number they are 40%. But 40% total voting power is how much? 98, sorry, 98%. So sir, it is easy, yes, this is valid, this is valid. Because what happens is subconsciously in their mind एक ही नंबर घूमता रहता है 95 95 95. गधों हर जगह पे 95 नहीं आता बेटा. Every time we should not use 95. So let me tell you, when I come to EGM, the conditions are little bit different. What law talks about this? तो देखो law ये कहता है, as far as this EGM is concerned, law says that short length notice would be allowed only if majority of the members have consented, who represent at least 95% of Total share capital containing what? Having voting rights in that meeting. In that meeting. Did you understand? भाई समझ में आई पूरी बात? Hello? All right. Majority of the members लिखो उसको. Who represent? Who have consented? I'm sorry. Who have consented? Okay, so this is what is the provision. Am I clear, guys? So, what should be the answer of this question? No doubt, total number of voting power is more than 95%, but तो देखो दो conditions है, number of members भी है, number of voting भी है. So, number of members should be more than half, majority, more than half. But whatever number has consented, who are majority in nature, must represent at least 95% of the total share capital. In AGM, we do not consider share capital. In fact, okay, मुझे एक बात बताओ. Number versus share capital in AGM, only number of the members is considered or share capital is also considered? सिर्फ numbers consider किए. ध्यान रखना, this 95% over here is not for the 95% of the total voting right, ऐसा नहीं लिखा है. Is it possible that 95% of the total members may represent only 40% of the total voting power? Excellent, Dhanush. What I'm asking, they have said 95% of the total members should vote. Is it possible the 95% who have voted in favor of the short length notice may represent only 40% of the total voting power? So ये कंफ्यूज मत हो जाना. ध्यान रखना, अगर बेटा क्वेश्चन बनाने पे आ गया ना, मैं रुला सकता हूँ बच्चों को. यहाँ पे ऐसे क्वेश्चन बना सकता हूँ. मैं आपको एग्जाम में दे दूंगा. There are 1000 members and company wants to decide for what? Short length notice. 980 members favored the decision, but who are representing only 20% of the total share capital. So is it valid or not valid? तो student confused हो जाएगी. क्यों? 98% of the total members are there, but the total representation is only what? 20%. But let me tell you, बच्चा, if it is AGM, annual general meeting, it is valid. But the same question what I do ask in the favor, like in the favor of EGM, it is not valid. Why? First condition, majority is satisfied. Second condition, EGM is not satisfied. Are you getting me? So if I ask you out of AGM short length versus EGM short length, which one covers two conditions, share capital as well as number of members? Answer would be EGM short length notice. Okay, yeah, Dhanush, you had a doubt. I'm sorry. Couldn't get your point. Repeat. Only 50% has the voting right in that upcoming meeting. That's what you are saying. 50% has the voting. Out of 1000, 50% means you are saying that 500 people have voting. So why other 500 don't have? First of all, clarify that. Due to some reason. Okay, I think that makes a point. 1000 total members are there, but I told you every member do not have voting right in every meeting. Depends upon the class meeting. It depends upon the suspensions of the voting right. Let's say you have not paid the call money, company has the right to suspend your all the voting rights. Yes or no? That concept is known as share lien. Lien, LIEN. पढ़ा होगा आपने? Share lien इसको बोलते हैं. Lien भी बोलते हैं, lien भी बोलते हैं. So now you tell me, I understood that out of 1500 has the voting right. So exactly. Look at this word. of total members who have right to vote in that meeting. So others who do not have voting right will not be considered in total. Will not be considered in total. Are you getting my point? So this word in that meeting is very, very substantial. In that meeting, it's very important. Okay. Now just one small clarification here, and it goes like this. None of you had asked me that, sir, everything is fine, but hey, ऐसा कैसे हुआ? अरे उसका रोटेशन पॉइंट कहाँ गया यार? पहले आता था रोटेशन, समझ रहे हो उसको 90 डिग्री पे मेरे को करना है, तो कैसे करूंगा? अरे नहीं यार, पहले आता था भाई। कुछ तो गड़बड़ हुई है, इसके पॉइंट्स नहीं आ रहे, इसका भी कुछ नहीं आ रहा है। किधर गया? दैट आई कैन डू, बट इज देयर एनी वे वेयर आई कैन? अरे बाप रे, अच्छा, सो आई हैव टू डू दिस मैन्युअली। क्या स्टूपिड है। ठीक है, आई विल फिगर इट आउट। Okay, so the point is how to do this. So let me tell you, just such a consent can be given either in writing, consent in both the above points, consent may be given in writing or in electronic mode. So if you want to use some app, or if you want to use I would say mail or any kinds of other mechanism, you are most welcome to use that, and you can do it. You can definitely do it. So guys, that is all about, I would say, the length of the notice. I hope you have understood. Come on. So length of the notice, we have the 2 points: short length and normal length. So please never try to understand that notice is just a piece of paper. Kya hai? But look at the legality. There are a lot of legalities are involved. Lot of legalities are involved. Okay, बेटा, till this anyone has any doubt? Clear हो सबके दिमाग में? ठीक है. So far let me tell you what we have done. देखो इतना सारा एक्सप्लेनेशन हमने किया यहाँ पे, इतनी सारी चीज हमने पढ़ी यहाँ पे, बट अल्टीमेटली व्हाट वी हैव डन, तो अभी तक हमने सिर्फ ये पढ़ लिया है, प्रॉपरली कन्वेंट। अभी ये तो बाकी है, एंड व्हेन दिस टू गेट्स ओवर, ये चैप्टर गेट्स ओवर। Am I clear to all of you? So this is just like a Pandora's box, blah, and so on. Now let's go to the another point when. Oh my God, ये अच्छा point है, वो second point रह गया मेरे से, sorry, माफ करना। Guys, if the company doesn't have share capital, ये part ना, या उसमें ये part रह गया। So guys, if company doesn't have share capital cannot be used. Only one thing you have to use, and that's the number. Yes or no? So if the company doesn't have share capital, this will be the answer. ठीक है? Anything. एक सेकंड बेटा, रुकना। ठीक है, हाँ बता प्रतीश। हाँ ठीक है। All right. I insist, guys, today while going home, I request don't forget to do section 101. ठीक है? 101 द नोटिस एक बार फिर से उसको रीशफल कर देना, ताकि पता चले क्या आता है। कि हाँ, किसको इमेज खींच रही तो खींच लो। अगर किसी को करना है उस हिसाब से, ठीक है. So now let's move on to the other point, and that is about properly constituted. So far whatever we have done, that is about properly convened. Now what about properly constituted? So for the properly constituted, we have the two requirements. Requirement number one is quorum. Quorum, and quorum is defined, all of you know, section 103. So over here the first part is quorum, or okay, and quorum is defined under section 103. Yeah. And second is, I would say, 104, that is talking about chairman, and one more is also there, and that one is 105. 105 talks about proxy. सेक्शन बी को आज ये दिन याद रहेगा. Nothing. Don't give proxy. That's what is the lesson here. So these 3 points, properly constituted. Look, properly convened is the planning part, which happens before the general meeting. Properly constituted is before starting the general meeting, but beginning of the general meeting. Before you start the discussion, you should have quorum, chairman, and compliances of the proxy provisions. Okay? So now discuss about 103 quorum. Quorum को थोड़ा डिटेल में ले लेते हैं, ठीक है? चेयरमैन को बाद में समझते हैं, अभी नहीं करते उसको. Okay. So what about quorum, guys? So in the quorum, these many points we have to understand. Write down here. First, meaning and eligibility to form the quorum. All right. Second, write down here. It is about number of quorum in the company. Third, what if consequences if quorum is not present in the meeting, and other miscellaneous points. Other miscellaneous points. ठीक है, शुरू करें. So basically, what is quorum? So we all know that as far as the term quorum is concerned, we all know that quorum means minimum number of members required to be present in meeting to start the meeting. To start the meeting. So if minimum number of quorum is not present, you cannot begin the quorum, you cannot begin the meeting, and meeting needs to be, okay, what needs to be done, that I will explain in the point number 3. लेकिन quorum चाहिए ही चाहिए. क्या बात समझ में आई? If nobody is here as a student, I can't teach, right? Don't say like sir आप record करके चले जाओ, ऐसा नहीं करना. ठीक है? Second question comes like who can become the part of quorum? Okay, before I go, let's go for the numbers of quorum in the company. Okay? Number of quorum in the company. So question goes like this. Suppose there is a company XYZ Limited, and this company has total 10,000 members. All right. And 40, only 40 members are present. Only 40 members are present, including preference shareholders. Only 40 members are present, including preference shareholders. Are you getting me? 5 members' voting rights are suspended due to share lien. Or not 5, let me tell you 15. Not a 15 even, just a second, just a second. Yeah, 15. Due to what? Share lien. Explain whether quorum is present in the meeting or not. What would be your answer? What would be your answer if AOA provides 20 members as quorum? So students, this is what is the structure of the question, what they can ask from, I would say, section 103. Got it? So you have to be very careful while answering these types of questions. आसान नहीं रहता जब हम ऐसे क्वेश्चंस को टच करने की कोशिश करते हैं. ठीक है? So basically, in this kinds of question, what is the number of quorum in the company? So when I discuss this, I can categorize the company into the 2 parts. This is there are these 2 parts we have to consider. Okay. Part number 1, private company, and part number 2 is what? This is private company and this is public company. Okay. So if I speak about the private company, law says that the number of quorum shall be, what shall be? Minimum number of quorum shall be 2. Or provided in articles of association whichever is higher. Whichever is, come on students, whichever is higher. That's the answer here. Whichever is higher. But if I speak about sorry, public company, अगर हम पब्लिक कंपनी की बात करें, so it is provided again guys that there is a slab is given. This slab I think yesterday's class I might have discussed. Okay, so let me tell you, law says that एक हम टेबल बना लेते हैं यहाँ पे. This is about numbers of members, and this is the quorum. So what law says that if बड़ा ध्यान से सुनना इसको. In the public company, if the total number of members, sorry, I have to add the word total. Total numbers of members is up to 1000. Then quorum requires is minimum 5. More than, or rather I would say 1001 to 5000. Then n number, you guess, 15. 5001 to, that is more than 5000. That's what I say. More than 5000. Then it is 30. Huh? No, 1001 to 5000. No. Up to 1005. If one number got increased, then it's 15. So if you're 1001, 15. 1002, 15. Exactly. So you can write like this: more than 1000, but up to 5000. So more than 1000 always starts with what? 1001. Okay? Here I just want to clarify one thing, that these provisions what you have learned, again guys, जो भी हमने यहाँ पे पढ़ा है, all right, these are subject to articles of association. Okay, subject to AOA. Now what do we mean by subject to AOA? It means that if AOA provides any number, then quorum shall be AOA or numbers provided under section 103, whichever is higher. So guys, this table represents what? Number provided under section 103. So again guys, just like the private company's quorum, it is subject to articles of association. It is subject to articles of association. Subject to articles of association. They may. It is on them. Look, articles of association, they said as far as the law is not getting violated, you have right to create your own rules. तो अपने रूल्स में तो आपको जो बनाना हो बना दो ना, वो आपकी मर्जी की बात है. आप स्लैब रेट बनाओ, आप कुछ और बनाओ, लॉ आपको नहीं रोकेगा, आप आराम से जा सकते हो उसमें. चलिए बेटा, यहाँ तक समझ में आ गया. ठीक है. नाउ सो फार जो भी हमने यहाँ पे पढ़ा है, दैट इज अबाउट द नंबर ऑफ कोरम इन कंपनी. नंबर ऑफ कोरम इन कंपनी. ठीक है. नाउ who is eligible to become the part of quorum? So in order to become quorum, as far as the eligibility is concerned, we have two conditions to meet with. How many conditions, Bacha? We have to follow these two conditions. All right. So write down eligibility to become part of quorum. Point number one is the person must have to have the membership. What do you need to have? Membership. So if the one who is not a member of company can't be considered as a part of quorum, including the director. If the director is sitting in the members meeting but he doesn't have the shares and is not a member, he will not be part of the quorum. He would be someone who is additional to the quorum. Am I clear? So no auditor, no debenture trustee, no director who are members of the company be counted as being the part of quorum. तो quorum में एक member ही quorum का part बन सकता है और कोई नहीं बन सकता. And second, what the law says under section 103, such members should have voting right in that meeting. What he should have? What he should have? Voting right in that meeting. So mere membership is not a valid thing. Membership and voting right together will make you to attend the general meeting. Otherwise, you don't have right to attend the general meeting. And even if you are attending, guys, you will not be considered as the quorum. And if you are not the part of quorum, guys, certain fundamental rights won't be given by the law. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Now, after having learned all this part, I think this question easily you can crack. क्या लिखा है यहाँ पे? The company XYZ Limited has total 10,000 members. 10,000 members is nothing but more than 5,000. So guys, 30 limit will be applicable. 30 or I would say provided in the articles of association, whichever is higher, it doesn't come to lower. Alright, so only 40 members are present. So fine, 40 is a good number because according to section 103, what number we need is 30. So 40 अच्छी बात है, but let's read. Out of this 30, how many of do have the voting right? How many of them do not have? So it is further provided that 15 members voting rights are suspended. So even if they are members present in the meeting, but will they be counted as a part of quorum? No. So 40 minus 15 comes to how much? 25. 25 is less than 30. Less than 30. So the answer to this question is quorum is not present in the meeting, and if it is not meeting, you cannot start the discussion. You cannot pass any decision, no matter how significant, how serious it is. How serious it is. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. What would be your answer if AOA provides 20 members as quorum? Same answer, because 20 or 30, whichever is higher, would be considered. तो अगर 20 लिखा है तो भी नहीं आएगा. देखो ऐसे क्वेश्चंस ICAI में पूछे जाएंगे. So have you got the solution? तो quorum में क्या होता है? ठीक है. Now third point. Sorry. What are the consequences if the quorum is not present in the meeting? ठीक है, quorum नहीं है तो होगा क्या अगर quorum नहीं है तो? अच्छा डिसमिस कर दो. कंपनी का काम गया खड्डे में, डिसमिस कर दो, कुछ डिस्कस नहीं करना. ऐसा नहीं है. So let's understand, guys, the point which is talking about consequences of the quorum. All right. So the first thing is quorum needs to be present within half an hour. कितने में? Half an hour of the scheduled meeting. So please write down over here. Quorum of the meeting need to be present within half an hour of the scheduled time. To start the meeting. To start what? The meeting. ठीक है? If quorum is not present within first half an hour of scheduled time, then what are the consequences? Now that's what we are going to understand. Clear? Okay, bacha. It need to be there within first half an hour, but what if it is not there? Then the whole concept here gets categorized into the two parts. Please write down. This is the part number 1 and that one is the part number 2. Part number one, meeting called up by board, and the second part talks about meeting called up by members. Meeting is called up by members. So we have this two classifications here. If meeting was called up by the board, then what is the solution? And if meeting is called up by the members, then what is the answer? ठीक है? If meeting is called up by board, then simple answer is, if meeting was called up by board and within first half an hour, if the quorum is not present, meeting shall stand adjourned. क्या हो जाएगी? कैंसिल नहीं होगी, एडजर्न एडजर्न बोले तो पोस्टपोन हो जाएगी. ठीक है? मीटिंग shall stand adjourned. Shall stand adjourned. Now, what is the new date of the adjourned meeting? That's what the point is. So again, please write down here new date. So there are two possibilities here. Two possibilities. थोड़ा पूरा यहाँ पे ध्यान रखना, थोड़ा critical हो सकता है. If the meeting gets adjourned, it is possible that date of adjourned meeting is not decided by board yet. So that is the first point. So in exams, they can ask you the question that if the meeting is adjourned, but what are the consequences if? Come on, guys. What are the consequences if the date of adjourned meeting is not decided? So what should be the second point here? It's quite easy. Second point is trying to say that what is the meeting of? Date of adjourned meeting is decided by the board. So we have this two possible situations here. Okay, before I move on, guys, पूरा एक बार structure पढ़ लो क्योंकि थोड़ा time taking है. उसको पूरा पढ़ लो one by one, layer by layer. Will you be able to understand this? Layer by layer बच्चा पूरा पढ़ लो कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं. ठीक है? चलो इसको और अच्छा डेकोरेट करते हैं. Now it looks good, right? Fine. इन लिखा में थोड़ा पानी भी किया था. So this part can be little bit procedural here. So meeting is called by the board, meeting shall stand adjourned, but what shall be the new date of the adjourned meeting? So there are 2 points. What if the date of adjourned meeting is not decided by the board yet? Now the answer what is given under the law, personally speaking, I do not agree with that. I have dissatisfaction to that answer. I have disappointment to that answer because according to me, the provision what is provided, it is quite illogical. In fact, I couldn't understand why they have given this kinds of repeated version. In 1956 it was there, but in today's modern era it seems impractical. How come? Let's understand this. So they have said that if the date of adjourned meeting is not decided, suppose, then adjourned meeting shall be conducted. Adjourned meeting shall be deemed to be conducted. Deemed means it shall be assumed. Deemed to be conducted at the same day, same time, same place of the next week. अब ये क्या लॉजिक हुआ यार? ये क्या लॉजिक हुआ? Same day, same thing. Do you agree with that? Same venue. That means law is saying that members are advised to assume that meeting shall be conducted in the same place which was decided 1 week back. Same day. If it was Wednesday, so next Wednesday. Same time. So without invitation, they can come and attend the general meeting. How many of the people in India know about such assumption? That if the meeting gets adjourned due to want of quorum, next week's time, next week day, you can directly go to that venue. Doesn't matter whether venue is available or not. You can go there and you can start the discussion. You can start the discussion. So it is little bit insensitive. I'm not in the position to understand that. कि ऐसा provision क्यों? Yeah, earlier it was there in the Companies Act 1956. The same way it is repeated. Because at that moment such transportation, such crowdy, such traffic was not there. In the name of transportation there was a railway, very limited area covered up. Most of the time they were using the bullock carts, camel carts, horses, walking, something like that. So maybe during that time this provision was suitable, but in today's era I don't think so. So I definitely recommend that the government of India, they should seriously think on this provision. Let me tell you, if this provision is there in the law under section 103, then what can happen? Assume one company has considered Christ University campus as the place of general meeting. Let's take the example of Infosys. At the time of general meeting, nobody could come. Minimum 30 people needed, but hardly 20 people could come. So within half an hour, the quorum was not present. Meeting shall stand adjourned. Some people who had the knowledge next week visited the venue. Next week visited the venue, and they were somewhere around 35. No directors present, no other members are present. Some random 35 members came to Christ University same day, same time. Nobody else was there, so they themselves appointed. One of themselves got appointed as the chairman, and they started discussion. And they decided some of the matters as they had been provided in agenda. If I'm asking you a question that randomly some 35 people visited Christ University on the day and they took some decision, whether these decisions are valid or not valid in the eyes of law. But the answer to this question is these decisions are valid. क्यों valid होगा? Have they come on the next day, same place, same venue, and now the number is more than 30. They have appointed the chairman and decided the matter, even if the board of directors don't know about it. Sometimes it may happen that they don't know, but that they are removed. डायरेक्टर को खुद को नहीं पता कि वो रिमूव हो चुका है, कोई भी आगे उनको रिमूव करके चला गया. So seriously, these kinds of things need to be. And second thing, how would the people come to know that board has decided the new date or not? उनको पता कैसे चलेगा भाई? You are in Chennai, company is in Bangalore. How the Chennai shareholder come to know that new date of the adjourned meeting is decided or not decided? क्या मेरी बात समझ में आ रही है? So same day, same time, same place of the next week. भाई ये थोड़ा कुछ मेरे को अनयूजुअल लग रहा है. मे बी यू आर थिंकिंग सर ऐसा थोड़ी लिखा हुआ है. बता दो भाई, देखिए 103 पे आ जाइए. Here the meeting shall stand adjourned to the same day in the next week at the same time and same place, or such other date decided by the board. So that's what, if the board has not decided, then the same place, but decided then that one. तो सेम ये कैसा, मतलब ये कैसा आपने ऐसा सोच लिया? मेरे को थोड़ा कंट्रोवर्शियल लग रहा है. Am I clear? But fine, as it is the part of our study, we have to study this. Don't ask me any logical question. I'm actually speechless on that. I won't be able to answer. मैं खुद नहीं बता पाऊंगा क्योंकि मैं खुद इसके अगेंस्ट हूँ. Okay. Now, what if the date of adjourned meeting is decided by the board? So this point is again will be classified into the two parts. आप कहेंगे कितने two parts है भाई? बहुत two parts है भाई, बहुत ही two parts. Okay. So new date, what is decided by the board is either within 30 days period or beyond 30 days period. Okay. So new date is within 30 days time period, or second is what? It is beyond 30 days. Now provisions of both this part is different. If it is within 30 days, then definitely you have to communicate to the people now that new date of the adjourned meeting is so and so. Are yes or no? Alright. So how will you communicate? That communication mode you have to remember. So law has provided that 3 days before the scheduled day, company, that is the board, shall notify in the vernacular newspaper the date, the day, time and place of adjourned meeting. Make sense? So the formality what you need to give is like, you have to just advertise in the newspaper that, okay, how many days before? 3 days before, at least 3 days before. Okay, sorry, I have to add this word. At least 3 days before you have to notify the people that this is what the new location and you can come there. But the point is, what if they have decided to go beyond 30 days? Let's say the adjourned meeting got adjourned at 45th day from the original one. Then the law has provided in this situation, company needs to give the fresh notice. Are you getting me? Fresh notice, like a new general meeting. What do you mean by like a new general meeting? Look, by giving the fresh notice, it will not become the new general meeting like a new general meeting. What does it mean? All those agendas, all that proxy form, all those notices what you had given, just like a fresh general meeting, same way everything will be repeated. Same way everything will be. So you have to incur the stationery cost again, because I think while making this provision, Indian lawmakers might have believed or thought psychologically that Indian people can't keep the things for the long time in the mind. Anything what is beyond 30 days, they forget easily. So it is better to remind them, just like giving what? The fresh notice. And that's also true, na? What did we eat one day before? We don't remember. How can we remember that what were the contents of the notice 30 days back? Like, and that's why, just to make them aware again, you should have to issue the notice just like a fresh general meeting. Alright, so this is what is about the want of quorum. Am I clear with you? But I'm telling you, I have just discussed the left hand part, right hand part is still yet to be decided. Okay, before I move on, is this clear in everyone's mind? I was expecting a doubt, but nobody did ask it. यहाँ पे एक अच्छा doubt आने वाला था. Just pressurize your brain and tell me what's the doubt. If it is within 21 days, what? If it is within 21 days, then it is within 30 days, just give the 3 days. Look, original notice had already been given, na? It's just a reminder. Look, these 2 points are talking about the reminders. If it is within 30 days, reminder will be given just by newspaper. And if it is beyond 30 days, reminder will be given by issuing the fresh notice. So don't consider these two as seriously. ये सिर्फ reminders है, ये कोई fresh notices नहीं. Fresh meeting की तरह एक आपको notice देना पड़ेगा. What is a local newspaper where this people can understand here? I think Kannada Keshari or Karnataka Keshari. Is ऐसा कोई है ना कौन सा? विजयवाणी हाँ विजयवाणी. हाँ तो इसके लिए एक और प्रोविजन है जो यहाँ पर नहीं मिसलेनियस में कि आपको नोटिस अपनी वेबसाइट में डाल देनी. वो भी तो है. टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया इज अ गुड थिंग. उसको उसमें भी दे दो आप जो पूरे देश में जाता है. डाउट ये नहीं है बेटा. डाउट इज लाइक दिस. I have said that if meeting was called up by the board and the quorum is not present, meeting shall stand. But what if in the adjourned meeting also the quorum is not present? तो क्या करोगे? Here, out of 10,000 members, only 20 were present, so you adjourn the meeting. But in the adjourned meeting, the situation is more worse because only 10 could present. अब क्या करोगे? So what is your answer like? Meeting shall stand cancelled. Cancel कर दो. That I understood. That's why they didn't come. But board, like, look, okay, in CF final, I'm trying to explain one concept. Board of directors are not loyal to shareholders. They are loyal to company. They are not representatives of shareholders. So I think you should understand that they should not fulfill every demand of the shareholders, which is against the welfare of company. There is a good question in CA final. In fact, in your CA inter also, chapter of dividend, section 123, board of directors proposed the dividend at the rate of 10%. Members demanded 20%. Board denied. They said, you are under us. You represent us. How dare you to go against the will of the shareholders? So my point is, if the board has decided 10%, shareholders, 100% shareholders are demanding 20%. Are directors under obligation to go for 20%? But the answer to that question is shareholders versus board. You tell me one thing, who knows the company better? Board. Second thing, board is loyal to whom? Company, or they are loyal to shareholders? They are loyal to company. So guys, 20% can affect your liquidity ratio. Stupid shareholders cannot understand that, na? They are always hungry for money. In fact, the board decides not to give anything, they can. Because they are more loyal to the company, they should think first about the company's financial position and then the demands of the shareholders. You should understand this. Because Dhanush का point क्या था? Shareholders are not interested. अरे खड्डे में जाए interested नहीं है तो. Sorry for using these words, but I have to be harsh. Why should we care here as being the directors? Because our duty is not to serve the shareholders. Our duty is to serve the company. Company appointed the directors, shareholders didn't. Shareholders is just a medium, not the appointer. ये समझो आप. Okay, so let me raise the question here. So in both this provision, question एकदम simple और काफी interesting है. That is what I'm discussing. Yeah, you have the answer. अच्छा, तो आपके हिसाब से कैंसिल कर देनी चाहिए. क्या आप इस बात से सहमत हो? मतलब लोग नहीं आएंगे तो आप डिसीजन कैंसिल करते जाओगे कंपनी के खड्डे में, यही आप सोच रहे हो ना? अच्छा, vote of director. What if there are some matters what need to be passed only under general meeting? You want to alter articles of association. These kinds of decisions, board cannot take alone. You have to have the consent of shareholder by way of special resolution. अब we have invited, but वो आ ही नहीं रहे. At one time, guys, I have adjourned the meeting. Second time क्या करोगे? Guys, second time law ने क्या कहा? Write down that here if quorum is not present even in adjourned general meeting, even in adjourned general meeting, the number the number of members present in the meeting shall form the quorum. Even if even if they are less than specified number of quorum. That's what the most logical provision I think we should go for. यही तो sense make करता है भाई. Because you don't have the whole life to wait for the people. Are yes or no? So whosoever are present, 5, 10, 12, start the discussion. Start the discussion. Company has informed if we have invited. Look, it is just like this. You have invited the guest in your marriage. But at the time of marriage, you arranged everything, food, band, baja, DJ, सब arrange कर दिया. But only 5 guests came because of the heavy rain or something. Will you stop your marriage? शादी तो करना है. हाँ, एक बार पोस्टपोन कर सकते हो. That means मुहूर्त you understand? हाँ, 3 o'clock का मुहूर्त अब 5 पे लेके गए. 5 में भी कोई नहीं आया. हाँ, अब जो आए वही कोरम स्टार्ट कर दो, वही शादी. Extraordinary general meeting. Okay. कहाँ लिखा है ऐसा? Majority of the numbers. स्पेशल रिजोल्यूशन में एटलीस्ट 75% चाहिए. स्पेशल रिजोल्यूशन में वोट्स, ना मेंबर ना कैपिटल, वोट्स. 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 अब वो मैं नहीं बताऊंगा क्योंकि अगर वो बता दिया तो 114 का सस्पेंस रिवील हो जाएगा. 114 इज द ऑर्डिनरी रिजोल्यूशन वर्सेस स्पेशल रिजोल्यूशन. थोड़ा वेट करेगा. मैं समझ गया कि तो क्या पूछना चाहते हैं. 75% कैलकुलेट कैसे होगा या फिर मोर देन हाफ कैलकुलेट कैसे होगा. आई थिंक व्हाट आई अंडरस्टूड इज दैट इज व्हाट योर डाउट इज. थोड़ा सब्र कर ले, सब बारी बारी आएगा और इसी चैप्टर में आएगा. Am I clear? But just one small comment is like if you read the secretarial standard 2, it tells one controversial point. According to SS2, it says that no matter what is written in the law, that now in the adjourned meeting, whosoever is present shall form the quorum, no matter they are less than what? The number of quorum. But they said, even if the law says like this, minimum number should be at least 2. कम से कम कितने होने चाहिए? Because if you only one member is present and you are allowing him to pass all the decisions of the agenda, that looks and sounds little unfair. But unfortunately, they have not mentioned that in such a situation where only one is present, meeting will be further adjourned or it will stand cancelled. ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा गया है. So according to me, it should get further adjourned and board at least should ensure that कम से कम 2 तो वहां पे प्रेजेंट होने चाहिए. कॉल करो किसी को, बिकॉज सेक ऑफ फॉर्मेलिटी भी कम से कम 2 को वहां पे खड़े रखो. But that is not as per the law, that is as per the secretarial standard. But according to the Companies Act 2013, all the standards, as far as the books of accounts are concerned, accounting standards, as far as the cost records are concerned, cost accounting standards, yes, it is there. As far as audit is concerned, auditing standards, and as far as the company law compliances are concerned, secretarial standards are mandatory to be followed, mandatory to follow by all the companies. So when it becomes mandatory to follow, so whatever is written over there ultimately becomes the part of compliance. Yes or no? So guys, I am not giving that note that this reduced number, the minimum number should be at least 2, because that is as per what? Secretarial standard. Am I clear to all of you? So now I can say, if the meeting is called up by the board, what are the consequences? वो पूरा यहाँ पे समझ में आपको आ जाना चाहिए. Now meeting is called up by the members and quorum is not present. I give you one logical demonstration in the class, like thought experiment. Assume you are the leader and you are calling the rally where you are expecting the good audience to come. You spend almost around 10 days in preparation of the speech, like you will say like this, you will just make these kinds of like this hand movements in the rally. वो करते हैं ना मोदी साहब, भाइयों बहनों, ऐसे ही करते हैं ना. अमित शाह का ये स्टाइल काफी मेरे को अच्छा लगता है, ऐसा करके करते. हमने उनको बता दिया है, लाइक दैट. राहुल गांधी का ये स्टाइल होता है, भाइयों बहनों, सॉरी आई डोंट वांट टू जस्ट मैं कर भी नहीं सकता. So you prepared everything, and what if guys at the time of rally when you went on the stage you found only 5 people? Is this meeting successful or it is failed? So you tell me, first of all, the meeting was called up by whom? Members, not by the board. So don't you think that if you couldn't even gather the minimum quorum, it is not the genuine meeting but it was a publicity stunt? Are yes or no? So law believes that if you are calling the meeting and the people are not taking you seriously, that at least you can't gather quorum in the meeting, so it doesn't make sense to allow you adjournment. And therefore, guys, answer to this question over here is, if the meeting was called up by the members and the quorum is not present, if the quorum is not present, then law एक ही बात बोलता है बच्चा, that meeting shall stand. What should be the answer now? I'm just giving a chance. बताओ. Cancel. पागल हो गए हो. Adjourn. मैंने अभी पता है adjourn देने का कोई लेकिन मेरे को मजा लेना था. Yes, cancel. That's only the most appropriate answer. और वही तो है. Just try to understand the logic of the law. देखो प्रोविजन समझने की जरूरत नहीं, वो खुद समझ में आ जाएगी. अगर आप इतना समझ लो भाई, आपने खुद बताया, because you want to show off your power, I have 10%, and you try to say on your call you couldn't even gather 10%, sorry, that minimum quorum. लॉ कहता कोई एडजॉर्नमेंट नहीं मिलेगा, सीधा कैंसिल, घर जाओ सो जाओ. Make sense? So that is all about, I would say, what if the meeting is not present within first half an hour. Meeting is called by then chairman. एक्सपेंसेस की बात कर रहा है, वो तो करवा तो दिया था, तो नहीं था उस टाइम पे, सो गए थे. ये रहा देख, एक सेकंड रुको। अबे किधर गया यार? हाँ ये रहा, देख पढ़ ले इसको। हो गया क्लियर? होता है। चलिए, ब्रेक लेना है। 103 अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ बेटा, अभी तो शुरुआत हुई है। 103 में बहुत कुछ आएगा, बहुत कुछ। क्या? देखो एक सेक्शन नहीं है, आप ये एक ही सेक्शन है लेकिन उसके सब सेक्शन देखो, उसके क्लास देखो, अभी इसका रूल्स देखो। मैं साथ में करवा रहा हूँ। आप प्रोविजंस अलग, वो प्रोफेशनल टीचिंग है, आपको एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ज्यादा देखना होता है ना। तो रूल्स और प्रोविजन को मिला के जो आंसर बनती है मैं वही प्रेजेंट करता हूँ। आप सेक्शन और पैरा के नंबर्स में मत जाइए, सिर्फ एक ही ध्यान रखिए 103 में सब कुछ आता है, खत्म बात। ये आई एम श्योर दैट वन ना। लेट मी zoom it out a little bit. uh, I don't know whether can you read this, shall I? Shall I zoom out?